Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And today I got a special collaboration episode with my guy, Ladarious Thomas from No Place for Bias. And honestly, Ladarious has been on my neck all season about my Kentucky Wildcats. He actually called it, the most disrespect. Like he said, Kentucky mild rats. So at the end of the day, we're going to get into the struggles of Kentucky. And I'm going to turn it over to you, man. It's your time to shine, man.
Listen, guys, y'all gonna need to help him out. Tap in, tune in, because I need some answers from the most ridiculous, least knowledgeable fan base on the planet. From the fan base that thinks every year you're gonna hang up. How many y'all got so far? 8.
We got 8.
We're gonna hang 9. And the next year we're gonna hang 10. And the next, it's like, you guys had the most ridiculous expectations. You don't hold your coach accountable. You think every player that you get is John Wall, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Anthony Davis. And it's on both sides. It's funny because you guys both don't give your team enough hell, as well as in some instances, you don't give your team enough respect. So I'm here to grill Derek Stevenson on his beliefs about these Kentucky Wild Rats. I'm here to grill the fan base on what the hell do y'all think basketball is? And how easy do you think it is to win? But my favorite part is how I'm finna roast John Calipari, because that man trash. And it's time for y'all to stop giving John Calipari a pass with his mile. He's the true definition of a mile rat. Like, he has given mid-grade performances ever since he took you guys and won the national championship with the kid with one eyebrow who was a generational talent.
For sure.
We can keep it. I'm going to try to keep it as cordial as possible, but it's going to get wild at some point.
Yes, sir, man. Well, you know what? The first thing that you said, or one of the first things you said, you was talking about the expectations, right? And
right.
I think that actually some of the expectations and some of the entitlement comes from, I actually believe that Kentucky fans are some of the most knowledgeable fans out there, honestly. And I think that some of the times that might be some of the reason why we seem a little crazy, because we take basketball so serious. I think it's just a lot of other programs across the country that don't really care as much as us, and they don't put in the same amount of work to be connected to the program as the way we do. I think now, a lot of us might have different opinions, but I do think Kentucky's fan base is one of the most knowledgeable, and obviously is one of the most passionate ones in the country. That's how I feel.
What did Nate Oates say about you guys? I don't remember the quote exactly, but what did Nate Oates say about you guys?
I ain't for sure what he said. He said we were spoiled, whatever it was like that.
Yeah, there you go. Spoiled fan base is a lot like Alabama football. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And when you become spoiled, you a lot of people don't want to spoil their kids because they don't want them to end up being A, assholes, and B, people that have bratty behavior.
Absolutely.
Bratty behavior. And that's, I think you guys exude that every chance y'all get. You become brats and whiny about what's going on. When you lose, it was the refs. Or, oh, we're just babies. And it's like, man, listen, I think one of the big things about it is why we say you're not knowledgeable is, again, it's not even realistic to put Nerlens Noel and Archie Good and was that Isaiah Briscoe potentially?
Nah, he wasn't on that squad. It was Alex Poitras. And those guys, man, you put these guys out here and run them out on the floor. You tell me that team's going to win the national championship. For those of you that don't know, I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for 12 years. I lived in Lexington for 12 years, and I had to deal with this crap every single year. I had to hear about which banner was getting hung, when, where, Calipari should coach in his gold jacket. It was just a number of just ridiculousness. So I'm going, guys, let's get back to the point of least informed. Man, when you put that out, when you put that product out there on the floor, after you watch that for 10 games, I don't remember how many games it was before Nerlens got hurt. I know it was relatively short. But early in the season, you could see this is not a national championship team. We can't hit free throws. We can't shoot.
We're always in foul trouble. We have no bench depth. That team probably had, and I'm not certain, but I want to say that team is one of the least talented teams that Kentucky had by a NBA player, NBA potential aspect.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't remember a whole bunch of guys where you go, damn, that kid jumps off the screen. And even when you get those teams, then you got to get into things like, do they have senior leadership? Do they have chemistry? Do they have the continuity? Have they gelled yet? So this is where I say, you're just yelling because you're a fan. You don't really understand the game, because when I watch Archie Goodwin, I'm like, man, this dude is just wild and out of control, athletic. He can play the game of basketball. Nerlens Noel, he's got one post move, and it's not the most efficient. Alex Poitras, just stop, because he was a baby at that point. Like, you can't tell me that that you have a knowledgeable fan base when you push products out there so bad. Oh, there was another team, James Young's team. We're going to win a championship. No, you're not. That James Young, and who was the other guard on that team?
But James Young, he played with the Harrison twins. They went to the Final Four, though.
Was that his first year?
Yeah, James Young played 1 year. But it was James Young.
To the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. It was the twins, Randall. They went to the Final Four.
Was that Wisconsin? That wasn't Wisconsin. That was when they lost to God damn it, because that's when we lost. I'm a Michigan State fan. So yeah, that hurt. Was that UConn?
I think it might have been UConn, if I remember correctly.
That was UConn, because they buzzsaw through us too. That was when UConn just
I would have to look at that, because I can't remember exactly who it was that knocked him out. But
coming at the beginning of the year, that Kentucky team, I'm like, okay, you got some talent, but first and foremost, rivals, ESPN, all these different stuff. Y'all recruiting sucks, because the Harrison twins, when I heard about these dudes, I just thought, damn, they are getting like Kyrie Irving and, Donovan Mitchell. Like, I just thought that they were getting two guys, and don't get it twisted. Like, they could play, they were decent, and one of the twins was better than the other, of course. But did you think that they stood up to expectations based upon like the hype that they got out of the recruiting?
I say yes and no, right? And the reason why I'll say yes and no is because they took them to 2 Final Fours. So
were they the catalyst behind that?
I ain't gonna say if I believe they was the complete catalyst, but listen, if you go back and watch their high school clips, they look like they was gonna be superstar. Now, the only thing that I ever questioned was if they was I didn't know what their speed was going to be like, and they wasn't really fast guards, but they were tall, big, and right. they kind of played bully ball. Like, they could bully their way to the basket in high school, and they, even to a degree in college, like they both got to the basket good. They actually both got drafted, and Andrew even played in the playoffs, man. So I can't really necessarily say they were. I can't really say they was terrible. They wasn't John Wall or Shea or Fox. They wasn't those guys, but they was NBA caliber athletes. Just not starter material. They were above G League level.
Hold on. So stop this, man. Because hold on. See, that's madness. And your fandom speaking right now. Which twin was the better twin? Was it Aaron?
Well, I think they both did different things. So it kind of depends on how you look at it. Aaron,
one of them was clearly better than the other.
Andrew was the one that was the more of the point guard per se. Okay. And Aaron is kind of a low key Kentucky legend. Like, his Final Four run, he hit like 2 or 3 last second buzzer beater shots. He's a low key Kentucky legend, man. We can't never throw that to the side. Like, that was big time stuff right there.
If those kids went to UNLV, do they go pro? If they go to UNLV, do they get a chance at the NBA?
I still think it's possible, because I think their opportunity to shine more would be bigger. Their numbers would be better because they had the ball in their hand more. And they would learn to play through their mistakes and have probably quicker growth than they actually did at Kentucky. So it's possible. I ain't gonna say because you never can tell, because you could go to a place like UNLV and maybe the system don't fit, or you don't get along with the coach,
Right.
and you could have a situation like we having to watch now with Bryce Hopkins, where he just is in a better situation for him and he's shining, unlike he was able to do at Kentucky.
I'm glad you brought that name up. We're gonna say that. This is what I'll say. John Wall, you could have stuck him at Tulane, Mississippi Junior College.
Yeah, he was like that.
De'Aaron Fox, you could have put him in Australia.
Definitely.
Hell, Brandon Knight, you could have put him at IUPUI. These boys are going early. They out of here. There is nothing to talk about. There is no conversation to be had. These guys can flat out ball. This is what we were sold the Twins as. In addition to that, after they're committed to Kentucky, because it's hilarious how much you guys love a kid based on his potential when, you know, he's still late in the recruiting stages and you one of the final 2 or 4 teams. Oh, this kid, he's coming to UK and he's this and he's that. And as soon as he commits to Duke or Carolina or Kansas, it's just like, oh, yeah, he's overrated anyway. And it's like, man, you just wanted this kid to come to your university. So how can I not think that you are full of bias and full of crap when you just were dying to get Josh Jackson and Jabari Parker and, you know, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, for sure.
How does a kid all of a sudden become trash afterwards? In addition to that, though, when you guys do get a kid and he signs on, I remember years ago, you guys got Alex Legion. And I was telling people, like, guys, I played against Alex Legion. Like, we mopped the floor with Alex Legion now. Like, he's not like, oh, Alex Legion is a stud. And I'm like, guys, did you play against him? Like, we beat the living crap out of him and his team. And I think Alex probably had like 11. Like, we smoked their boots. I'm like, gosh, he's not a guy. Oh, but he's coming to Kentucky. And, you know, we just, and I'm like, gosh, like, that's just not it. Now, this wasn't a part of the Calipari regime.
Absolutely.
So I can't put that on him. But it's just that rabid fan base that every year, everything is going to go right. We're going to put a banner up. And you guys don't even recognize now that you're a football school, because Stoops is doing just as good a job as Calipari.
Well, look, check this out, right? You know, we were up until recently the most winning school in college basketball. And then you pair that with the fact that we do have 8 championships. Okay. You can say we got 4 in the modern era, but overall, at the end of the day, we still got 8 championships. People are welcome to feel however they feel about that. And I won't argue with anybody that feels like maybe the first 4, you know, you can say whatever you want, but when I talk about Kentucky basketball, we got 8 championships, right? But this is my thing. I'm
your 8 rings. Bro.
I'm still very aware of the fact that even though we were the most winningest college, even though we got 8 championships, I'm still aware that Kentucky's program is over 100 years, right? So when you really break it down and you look at how many championships we won versus how old the program is, right, you lucky to win one every 10 to 20 years, right?
20 years, facts.
So at the end of the day, I do think we have a right to hold ourselves to a high standard, because we still have achieved a whole lot more than the average program. It's only a handful of programs that really have achieved the same level of success as us. So I do think to a degree that some of the entitlement is acceptable, but I do, you know, I understand that we're not hanging banners every other year. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And the only thing that I think worries the fans is that the other programs that are quote unquote in the same tier as us have had more success over the last couple of decades, right? So we were building a dynasty before Pitino decided to leave and take the $70 million for the Celtics. Like, we had,
can't blame him.
We went, million. We ended up going to the championship game 3 years in a row.
Yep.
So arguably, if Pitino would have just sit still at Kentucky, we could have been the Alabama of college basketball at that point. He was turning us into that.
Agreed. Won't get any. I will not contest it at all. Agreed.
Now, what happened was Tubby took over and he started it off proper. But then Tubby, I feel like Tubby doesn't really get along with modern day athletes well. So I feel like Tubby I don't think he really wanted to embrace the top tier athletes because maybe he just felt like they weren't as coachable. And I don't think he wanted to deal with that because if you look back at a lot of the players, the top recruits of that time, a lot of them said, like I think I remember Kevin Durant saying that Tubby didn't even call him.
Mm-hmm.
And just different things like that, which was weird to me that he didn't even attempt to talk to some of these players. Right. But because of that, Tubby chose to try to win with more of a lower tier player, right? Which I think kind of hurt him because he didn't really end up having much success after that first year. And then on top of that, he wasn't bringing in exciting players. Now there was a couple of legends that was born in the Tubby era. Tayshaun was there. Even somebody that maybe
his guy, or was
recruited by Keith Bogans was there. Keith Bogans was on that team that went crazy, that swept the SEC. But then once again they failed, and obviously
who beat them?
I think it was the year when Dwayne Wade crushed him. I believe. Was he on that? I can't remember if that was the Bogan squad or not, but it was one of them. But Tubby had a couple of okay teams at Kentucky, but they all flopped. And then he wasn't bringing in a whole lot of exciting players, and I think that's what upset the fans. And so then after that, we had the Billy G meltdown period where we just was garbage. Like he was
favorite coach in Kentucky history.
And see, Billy Gillispie just didn't understand the responsibility of being professional when you in that type of situation. Like he was in the bars drinking and hitting on the college girls. He was reportedly.
Was that true?
I seen him out.
Said that I seen him trying to knock off a player's girlfriend.
Yeah, I heard that too. Now I don't know if that part's true.
Is that true?
I don't know if that part is true, but I believe that it probably was because he was always out like that. He was outside for real.
But that's what y'all deserve. Y'all deserve less. Like y'all don't deserve much, bro. Y'all deserve less because when you got a shitty fan base. Sorry, hold on, because you're too sensitive. When you have a fan base of a certain caliber and they're obnoxious and they decide, hey man, everything's about us. We're the greatest thing since pants with pockets and nobody can touch us. You deserve to have about a 5-year hiccup? How long did that relationship last? About 5 years?
Nah, Billy, they got Billy out of there quick. I think it was like 2 years.
Bill was there longer than 2.
Nah, I don't think so.
Let me check that. But yeah. Nonetheless, I just think y'all, because let's get into this. Billy Gillispie. Billy G. Let's get into this. If you guys happen to run the underachiever known as John Calipari out of town, who are you guys gonna get? We've seen reports that Texas, what is it, 11 million?
Yeah, that's the rumor that's out there is they offered him 11 million.
We don't know if it's true or not, but nonetheless,
okay.
I mean, let's look.
Okay, let's get into that. Let's get into that. So this is what I would say about it. If I was John Calipari, I probably would consider that, and I'm gonna tell you why. When John Calipari came to Kentucky, he was considered a top coach, but I think he was hungry. I think he had a couple of moments where he was getting ready to get to the top and he fell short. Like obviously he lost to us in the Final Four at UMass, and then he lost to Bill Self in Kansas when he was at Memphis. So he was right on the cusp of becoming like next level, right? So when he got that call to come to Kentucky, like he said, man, it's Kentucky. So like in his eyes, it's like, okay, now I'm going to go get it because now he knows he's going to get the support. He's going to get the resources. He's going to be the top dog in Lexington. He had everything that Kentucky basketball will give you. He was ready for that. He was hungry and he got his championship fairly quickly, right?
Right.
Now, the thing that happened was at that particular time, like you said, you brought up some of the guys like John Wall, AD, Brandon Knight, all of those guys, right? DeMarcus Cousins. At that time, I think it was when you got the top level recruits, they were better than everybody else in college basketball. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think the best players in college basketball are necessarily the top 5 freshmen anymore. Now they might be like the top 30, but that little, like, you're not getting John Walls on a consistent basis that are just better than everybody else.
Okay, let me combat that. I'll give you so man, when you turn these cameras on and you put computers in our pockets and everybody could see everybody, it did a lot. Like some of the guys of lesser caliber, they get more exposure. And I think naturally with getting more exposure, you're going to get more confidence. So you might be a 4-star. But then when you're a 4-star, Wheeler and blah, blah, blah. Trash, be quiet. You like USC and UK, y'all both trash. Once you begin to get that confidence, you might be a 3-star, you might be a 4-star. People are watching me and giving praise to my game. You see what I'm saying? Like, people are actually able to see me, the visibility, more people can see me, and I'm getting this praise. So I think, okay, let's say you close that gap. This is where I think the flaw in that is. Calipari, out of the top 100 kids, every year you're getting 4 to 5 of them. So, okay, you didn't get John Wall or, you didn't get those caliber guys. You got, let's say you got 6, 9, 13, 38, and 92. Man, that's one hell of a class. And you got to find something out of those kids. So I hear what you're saying about shrinking the gap.
But see, here's the thing. He don't get 98 though. He don't go that low. But the problem is because he don't get them that low, they know that they don't even necessarily have to have a great season. They just going to be projected high in the draft. Like, for instance, right? Like, we got Ty Washington last year.
Right.
Ty was ranked about 15th or something like that. So Ty was, they know Ty can hoop. Like, the NBA is aware of Ty. Now, he comes to Kentucky. He has a good season, but not an exceptional one, but he has a good season. And he goes in the draft. He kind of had a little bit of trouble with injuries, but he ends up sacrificing what I think Ty is better than being like the 27th pick, right? But because he knows he goes to Kentucky, they had the draft combine at Kentucky. He probably done already got some feedback. At some points, they talking about him maybe even being top 10. So he knows that he can go straight to the league. But if Ty would have came back, because I've been watching him in the G League, he's killing. He's a lot better than he was last year. If he would have been on this team a year better, that's the piece that we need. And that happens to Calipari.
Coach. He better because he got somebody that can coach X's and O's. Let me tell you something. Ty Washington was a stud. I hate to give Kentucky players credit just because they went to Kentucky. But then you watch certain motherfuckers and certain guys and you go, wow, this dude jumps off the screen at me. So you at Kentucky, you're Ty Washington, and for whatever reason, Mr. John Calipari decides, I'm not going to focus the offense on you. I'm not going to run the offense through you, and I'm not going to make you the primary ball handler. I'm going to play you off ball. And we've had a discussion on this before, but I don't give a damn what is going on. You are at Kentucky to win championships, and this is what's coming to bite him in the butt.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I seen all these guys pro. Oh, look at me. They were going 90. I want to be realistic. Hold on. Make sure I'm not. I want to say about 85% of these guys were going pro no matter where they went.
That's fair.
It doesn't matter where you went, man. If you are,
but that's not just for Kentucky. That's for Duke, North Carolina. We gotta use we gotta throw that out there too.
Let's be fair. I know you hate the other blues, so let's get some, because only one I don't have a deep just but is Carolina. I don't feel that way about Carolina, but them other ones, Kansas, Carolina, Kentucky, oh God, I don't like nothing about neither one of them. But let's not get off topic. You got these guys that are going pro regardless, so I'm going, okay, now I have to judge you off of the 3-star guys, the guys that were barely ranked or came up from JUCO and, were having a hard time at it. Like, okay, cool. Now when you send these guys, I'll give you one. I'll give them one. And I don't give him much of nothing. Where did Josh Harrelson come from?
I forgot where he came from, honestly, but
he came from the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. Same.
I gotta give Josh Harrelson some love because it's like, okay, well, Calipari some love on the Josh Harrelson tip because it's like, man, this dude, he wore jean shorts and he looked like he had the ultimate dad bod, and you sent him to the NBA. Now, a lot of that was due to team success. Sure. That's the year y'all lost to Ohio State, I believe.
Nah, we beat Ohio State.
Jared Sullinger, y'all did beat Ohio State.